What's good, family? What's good? What's good, y'all? What's good? Apologies for the late start. Late, early type of start. My fault. Low-key in a bit of a rush today. We're going to be on stream for maybe about 30, 35 minutes. We're going to break down some Jalen Brunson, and then we're going to get to it. You know what I'm saying? By the way, anybody that's in the chat, what's good? Magic, what's good? Eric, Nema, what's good? Give me 1 second. I'm going to post this stream. Let me get the Jalen Brunson clips up first and foremost. About to break down some Jalen Brunson. Let's start right there. We're going to start right there with it. Let me get this up on Instagram. And after I get on Instagram, we're going to get started. Straight into it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Go there. Go there. Take that off. Let me get that. By the way, how y'all day been? How y'all day been? How y'all day been? Who hooped today? Who worked out today? Who not lacking? Who is not lacking? Y'all can't be watching the breakdowns and not hoop. Because if you're watching the breakdowns, you're not hooping, you're not gonna really get better. You gotta apply it. It's called wisdom. So let me know who got in the gym today. Get that. Get that. Go there. Go there. Go there. Boom. Get that. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. We almost done. We almost done. We almost done. We almost done. Got that. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Who in here? Who in here? We active? We lit? We lit? Let me change this right quick. Let me make sure I got my whole setup right on the screens. All right, boom. We lit. We lit. We lit. We lit. All right, let me check the chat right quick before we get started. Let me check this chat right quick. How do you improve your defense? It's situational. It's personalized. Everybody has their different issues when it comes to playing, when it comes to guarding, when it comes to attacking, all those different things. Everyone has their different issues. And so defense is another one of those things. You could be someone who lacks IQ, or you could be somebody who lacks the athleticism. So which side are you on? If you lack the athleticism, it requires training. If you lack the IQ, it requires studying. And so is it a bit of both? Then you might need both, right? So if it's athleticism, if you just simply can't stay in front of people, or if you already have athleticism, if you already got a quick first step, you already got some quick twitch, right? But people blow by you might just not know how to play angles, right? That's where you got to that's where you got to begin to experiment almost when it comes down to that, you know? And also it requires coaching for someone to have the lens to be able to say, okay, I know what he's dealing with, let me fix it. Right? So, yeah, it's about identifying where the problem is. But I would say mentally and IQ, studying defense. But how do you study defense without knowing? It takes some time to find the truth, right? And then 2, how do you improve in training? That's a whole process in itself. That's a whole process in itself. Long story short, it's something I can help you with if you join the community. Link in bio, discipline or regret. You choose. Eric, you said you hooped last night? Day for me? Okay. So you chilling, you resting today? By the way, Eric, I'm pretty sure I think you joined the community. I'm pretty sure that's you. Make sure you send me those jump shots. Make sure you record those jump shots and you send it, so we could have a transformation. We could see actually knocking them down. So 35 minutes at gym, you on vacay? Amen, 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 amen. Nema, amen. All right, you said okay. You said you're gonna fix your phone. All right, bet that. Is it possible I'm naturally slow because I have strong legs, but I really? Oh, if you have strong legs but you're not quick, there you have to learn how to teach your muscles to be quick, right? Actually seen something very recently that reinforced that same concept where you could have if it was just simply on strength, bodybuilders would be the bountiest players. They'll be the quickest, most athletic. But you have to train the muscle, right, which produces the strength to then move quick. Because there's a difference between force and quickness. Quickness deals with force, but not all force means quickness, right? Quickness is that short frame as to which you're able to take force and direct it out to then move your body, right? Not everybody who's strong is quick, but not everybody who's quick is strong. But if you compare those two together, that's where you really become a problem. Long story short, functional training will get you right. The right plyometrics, you know what I'm saying? The right eating, the right habits, the right routines, all that. I plan on doing some European stuff. If y'all know some European hoopers, it's been on my mind. I'm going to pray about it, of course. But if y'all know some European hoopers that are real nice, I heard Kendrick Nunn, a couple other like wings, Mike James, of course, those type of dudes. But I may end up doing some European players, you know what I'm saying? So y'all can learn how to score in that manner, one, and two, in that same game setting. Be sending my son in 6th grade. We do video reports. Thanks for lecturing the game in real time. Probably be more durable and entertaining. Amen. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, Jerry. Appreciate you, Jerry. Hey, if your son is in 6th grade, dog, and if he start catching this, he gonna get right. But he could get even more. I promise you. Like what I'm about to break down with Jalen Brunson, we about to get straight to it, as a matter of fact. What I'm about to break down with Jalen Brunson, right? I just analyzed his playoffs, right? Soon. We're gonna end up doing. There's gonna be a stream where I watch all 355 clips and I break down what I found for those, right? But if you want real coaching, Jerry, if you want your son to have real coaching, I have a community, an online community where I'll coach him one-on-one directly. I'll live feedback, live messaging, all that, workout programs, film, all that, right? I'll probably show at the end of this breakdown as we get going, as we get flowing, right? Show y'all just like a sneak peek if any of y'all really want to truly level your game up. Because this is like one breakdown out of 10 that I already did. Like 1 out of 10. Right? I'm probably going to do about 2 today. You know what I'm saying? We're going to dive into it. We're going to notice some of these patterns. And y'all going to be getting to catch gems that's going to bring y'all breakthrough. And so there have been people who 5x their scoring average just by simply learning the mental part of the game. 5x'd. The things I'm teaching, the things I'm showing y'all, right? The people as to which I'm being able to coach, they 5x, 4x, whatever, 3x their scoring average. Because they learn how to use their mind. Right? I said this last stream. A lot of y'all work too hard to lose your mind. Meaning that you put too much work into the gym, into your body, into your skill to not use your mind to be able to take advantage of what you could physically do. Right? You got to learn the mind game of the game. And once you get that, you'll get breakthrough. I promise. Right? But it's a matter of learning. You got to begin to take the things as to what you don't know, right? Fill the areas and the rooms in your mind as to what you don't have any knowledge of and fill it with the truth and begin to learn how to apply it. Right? And so there's a process to it. There's truth. You got to seek truth. You got to find truth, and you got to adjust the game. Right? But long story short, if you want to make that investment, you want to get better, join the community. Right? It's an investment into your future. If you want to actually truly get better at the game, discipline or regret. You're going to choose discipline, which is making the choice now to put yourself where you want to be later. Or you're going to end up regretting and keep doing the same thing you've been doing and then really see no progress. And before you know it, time has went by. You can't buy time back, but yet you could be able to get your money back in that case because it'll be an investment into you. And you'll actually end up being where you want to be. Right? So discipline or regret. Y'all choose. Right? So we about to get started, though. We about to get started. See, worth it. Amen, Jerry. I'm going to be here every Saturday. We live stream, by the way. Every Saturday we live stream, right? Usually around 2:30 to 3:30. Usually it's going to be 3:30, but today I've been busy. But nonetheless, we still going to get active. We're going to get to it. So what we're going to break down this video is a concept a lot of people don't understand fully, right? Which is why players use a certain move, right? And when players use a certain move. And even what we're going to break down after this is also spacing as well. Spacing is another thing I'm going to break down for y'all today. And so I'm going to show y'all a compilation of clips of one of Jalen Brunson's go-to moves, right? Excuse me. Let me check the chat real quick. Yeah, it's all in my course. It's all in my course. At the end of this, I'm gonna show y'all how it actually looks like, how the courses look like, how the film breakdowns and everything in there look like, the workout programs, all of that. Like, and it's growing and expanding fast. I've been putting a lot of my effort and a lot of my mind into it. So it's gonna be an entire library of not just film but also training. It's gonna be immaculate. Just to tell you that, it's gonna be immaculate. The Lord's been doing a good work through me. So I'm just blessed to be in this position to be able to help y'all, man. Like, I'm just surrendered at this point. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all to serve y'all. I'm doing this to serve y'all. You know what I'm saying? So all I can say is count it all joy, man. I count it all joy. But like I said, we about to break down some Jalen Brunson. Let's get to some Jalen Brunson right quick. Right? So first and foremost, we're going to break down this first video. Right? A lot of hoopers do not know how to use the move against the defender that's in front of them. But let me tell you this, it's not just about who's in front, it's also about the help and how you set it up and who you're using it against. And those are the components we're going to break down. But we're going to watch all these clips through, and I want you just to see it through the first time and notice what is happening. What is Jalen Brunson doing? Right? Let's get it. Let's get it. Jalen Brunson, knee smith on him, turner on the screen. He goes left. Right? Stretches out the defense, kicks it to Cat, and guess what he got now? Right? He ends up having to switch on a Miles Turner. And this is where I want y'all to pay attention. Right? Pay attention. This is where we're going to really begin. He got a switch, top of the key. Boom, he goes, push, cross, float, bucket. Right? That's the first play I want to show y'all. He had Miles Turner. Now we're going on to this next possession. Who's on him now? Pascal Siakam. Let's just continue. Let's just watch some of these plays. You know what I'm saying? You see him at the top being patient, waiting, getting things organized. Boom. Tax the rim, float, bucket. Second play, right? Mind you, like I said, we're watching his isolations. Comes off the screen, he gets a switch. Tony Bradley, boom, goes, float or lay, foul, gets a line. And if you don't count free throws as getting buckets, you're tweaking, right? That's a bucket right there. Give me to the line, give me easy two. Give me an easy two. He comes off the screen, right? He's got Obi topping. Isolation, boom, he goes. Bump, float. Float game tough, right? Let's keep going. This is the fifth play, right? This is the last play I want y'all to notice, right? This time he's got Shepherd, right? We're going to go back and break all this down in a second. I just want y'all to see this play for itself. And I want any of y'all to tell me, what did you notice about all those plays that were similar? Somebody in the chat, let's get interactive. Somebody, what did you notice about all those plays that were the same thing? Tell me one thing. What did you notice that was the same on every single one of those plays? I need an answer from somebody. Somebody must have caught it. Somebody must have caught it. I know. Okay, so push cross. That's what it is. Push cross. Good catch, Ace. Right? Push cross. You saw it float every play, almost every play. That play against Bradley, it was a layup. Right? But that push cross is what I want to talk about, right? So let's go back. Right? A lot of y'all think, right? Let's skip forward a little bit to when he gets a switch. First, let me even break down the switch. Y'all got to understand. Before he even gets the switch on the Miles Turner, the key is utilizing space, right? Understand. He ends up going from this top, uses that screen, goes all the way down here, and passes the ball to Cat just to simply force Neesmith to go and close out on Cat, and Turner's going to stay out on him, right? Just by making that pass. So now he got a switch, but he had to pass first before he got a switch. And so now when he gets a switch, let's break down that push cross, because that's what he did on every play, right? You're going to think that the reason why Jalen Brunson did that push cross is because of his top foot right here. What if I told you it's not? This just really so happens to be a coincidence in plays where if you actually analyze everything that's going on and what Jalen Brunson sees, it's not because of his top foot. Rather, this top foot ends up being there because of how he sets it up, but it's not what he's focused on, right? And so I want you to notice that between every play, right? Push cross right there, he ends up getting to the paint, float. Let's skip a little more, right? Siakam, he ends up doing this same thing, right? Push cross, right? You see that top foot was right there. Let's go back right quick. You see the top foot was right there. Top foot right there. You see? Okay. Boom. A lot of people think, oh, push cross. Every time I see top foot, push cross. That could be something that works, but the most important thing is the thing I'm going to break down after we go back through these plays one more time, right? He's over here. Tony Bradley, right? Notice once again, top foot. What ends up happening? Push cross. He goes by and he cuts him off. Boom. He gets fouled, right? Next play now, right? Obi topping, right? Obi topping on him. Notice what happens. Same thing. Notice that foot, right? What happens? Push cross, right? So boom, bump, float. Let's go to the next play. Now we have Shepherd. Notice what happens. What are we seeing again? Top foot. What does he do? Guess what? Push cross. And he gets into the paint and he lays right there at the rim. But I want you to pay attention to one of the more interesting things about this play, right? Let's go back. It's not about the front foot. It's not about the front foot, because let me tell you this. There's something else that's more important than getting past the person in front of you, which is the help, right? One. And two, notice who he's doing the move against, right? So first, he comes off the screen. He gets Miles Turner, right? What position is Miles Turner? He's a center. He's a 5. What is the distinct difference between Brunson and Miles Turner? Miles Turner is a big who's slower, right? And so when you have somebody who's big against you, what's going to be open, right? The blow by, attacking, right? And so this is a move that Brunson uses according to a certain matchup and not according to how they're standing. Understand. He uses it against Turner. Let's go to the next one. He uses it against Siakam, who's a 3-4 man, but even in comparison to Jalen Brunson, who's 6 foot, right? 6'1", he's a lot quicker than his matchup. So boom, another one. Now he has Bradley on him. What is that? He's a 5 man. Who is that? Another person he's much quicker than at 6'1". And now he ends up having Toppin, another person who's about 6'8", 6'9", who he is much quicker than. And then even on this last play, pay attention with Shepherd. This is a play that's slightly different because this goes off spacing. So understand, right? Let's go back. Let's break down these plays first, right? Let's break down these plays first. He gets a switch on the Turner. Let's really break this down in detail because you got to understand it's not about the positioning, what they're doing. It's about the setup that he's using that allows him to leverage that situation. So for this play, let's break it down in detail. Let's go. Slow it down. He's got Miles Turner at the top of the key, right? And now understand, every single one of these setups, he leads his defender to the right side before he goes back left, right? He leads him to the right side before he goes back left. And then leading him to that right side, he doesn't have to think about putting their top foot in a certain spot because their top foot is already there as a byproduct. You're not going to guard the ball, right? And you're not going to guard the ball. And while someone's moving this way, you're not going to bring this foot forward and move that way. You're not going to, if someone's moving to their right, you're not going to put your left foot in front and then slide with them, right? So what's usually going to happen, just as a result, unless you're consciously doing it, understanding what they're leading you to, you're not going to do it. You're usually going to keep that outside foot in front so that you could lead that so you could be able to shade that person, especially when they're at the top of the key, right, in the direction that they're already moving, right? So if they're moving right, you're going to bring up your right foot. If they're moving left, you're going to bring up your left foot when you're at the top of the key because there's no principles at the top of the key, right? So boom, in this situation, as he leads him to that right side, right, as he leads him right, it just ends up exposing that top foot. And now I want you to understand the spacing of the situation. He has Karl Anthony Towns, who's one pass away from him, right? So that means Nesmith cannot help too much because he has to stay attached to Cat because if he overhelps, he's going to swing to Cat. Then if Cat gets it and then Halliburton rotates, that means he's going to swing to, oh, damn, that's a terrible arrow. My fault. Boom. Then he's going to swing to the corner right here to Mikal Bridges, and then Mikal Bridges is going to knock it down. 2 40% three-point shooters on the same side. So the second that he gets Miles Turner, right, the setup is natural. The positioning of his body is natural. But the way as to which he gets into the gap, right, the way as to which he attacks depends on how the floor is spaced. Right? He doesn't even have to think about bringing up the first person's top foot or attacking the person's top foot. He just goes, right? So here, he leads him to that right side. He goes back to his left side, and he doesn't get any help. Because why? No, remember what I said before. Karl Anthony Towns, he can't help. You see Halliburton, he can't help. 2 40% three-point shooters. So where's the help coming from? Pascal Siakam. He beats Turner, uses that push cross against a big, right? Uses the push cross against a big, right? Someone who's slower than him. And now he has to read the help. And in reading the help, he realizes Siakam's there. He has to float over the top instead of getting to the rim. That's the first play. Let's break down the next play, right? Siakam again. Over here, it's important that you get your spacing because you see Anunoby's not spaced, you see Robinson's not spaced. So the floor has to be set before he goes because if he attacks and gets into here and people aren't where they need to be, he may not even be able to get there because people aren't where they need to be. Got to catch it by the spirit, right? So boom, now let's keep going. He has to get the spacing right, and as he gets the spacing right while the clock is going down, notice what he ends up doing. Same thing with Siakam. He has him at the top of the key. As he's moving to the right side, right? As he's moving to the right side, he's going to end up exposing that top foot of Siakam, and it just makes it wide. It makes it super easy for him to now push cross. And now when he gets into the paint, notice, he's so far away at this point when he drives from, who is it, Mathurin right here? He can't do anything. But now Turner's over here at the rim, so how could he be able to get to his finish, right? Boom, float before Turner could stop him at the rim and before Siakam can get back in front. Bucket, right? It's the same move against the same type of defenders with practically the same setup, right? He has Tony Bradley on him on this left wing, right? So boom, tween, right here, hang out the right, and now understand, hanging out the right, what foot is front? That right foot, he ends up going where? Attacking that. And now even after he gets here, TJ McConnell and Josh Hart on the same strong side, right? They're on the same strong side. So in reality, McConnell should be able to come and help. And since they're so close to one another, Toppin should be able to guard both because they're so close. It's bad spacing. But this is why Jalen Brunson has to do what he's about to do, which is he's going to get here, and instead of getting in the way of McConnell, he's going to cut back in front of Bradley, and he's going to run into him, and that's how he gets his foul because he's not set, right? Pay attention. Notice he goes this way, and he cuts back in front of his body because he doesn't have a lot of space. So after he made the move, notice how he continued to read the help, right? After he made the move, he continued to read the help. He saw where the help was because he knew the person he got past was already done, right? That's another person who's much slower than him that he used to move against, right? So boom, bump, lay right there, gets the foul, gets the line, gets his bucket, right? Now understand, another play over here. Obi Toppin comes over to this side, and watch. This entire play, notice the direction that he's moving. He's going to the right side, gets a switch, going to the right side. And then after going to his right side, another person, like I said, a four-man, Obi Toppin, slower. And he moving right, push cross to that left, breaks into the middle of the floor, bumps to get some space to get that float, and is able to get his bucket. And now this play at the end is slightly different, right? This play is slightly different right here, right? Because now he has Shepherd on him, right? And so now, in having Shepherd, it's not so much about the person that's in front. Just like those other plays, it's about the help, right? It's always about the help, which is why a move like this could work in practically any situation against any person, but it's really the most effective against bigs and players who are slower than you. Leading them one way, push cross the other. I promise as a guard, if you do that same thing, bigs are going to be fried and players who are just slower are going to be fried, especially if you're quick, right? And so what he ends up doing, I want you to notice the spacing of the floor after he comes off of this. Shepherd doesn't switch, right? Notice who's to his right and his left, because at the top of the key, this is the most important read. Who's one pass away from this side and who's one pass away from that side? We already know Josh Hart, he's listed as what? A non-shooter, right? So when it comes down to Halliburton playing help defense, he could actually come in and plug and play help defense, right? And so now with Karl-Anthony Towns, 40% three-point shooter. So what does that mean for Toppin? He has to stay connected and he cannot go and play help defense, right? And so now in making this size up, right, it does the same thing that's to which it did for Turner, Toppin, Siakam, where you lead him one way, it exposes a foot, and then now you go, right? He doesn't have to think about that. What he has to process is the help. And so now in going right, what is he able to notice, right? What does he understand? Halliburton, loaded up. So his move that's even leading him to where the help is loaded up, it's now just going to simply be bait for him to get back this way, where not only will there be a lane because he led Shepherd to the right side, to his right side, it's also going to be no help because now Toppin is guarding Cat. And so now in doing that, guess what's happened to Shepherd? Blown by, right? He gets his angle, and who's the help defender once again, like we see on the first play? Siakam. And now seeing Siakam, what does he end up doing, right? What does he end up doing? Boom. Finishing with that right hand, a rare right hand finish by Jalen Brunson. He's still able to get that lay and get his bucket. Right? And so that is the key. It's not about the top foot and just reading the top foot the whole time. The moves that you use should already set you up so you don't have to think about it. Rather, the most important part is understanding the help. What direction what direction can I go? Where are the gaps open up? Where are my best teammates that I could attack the side of? Right? And how could I even be able to put together moves that I don't need to think about that will just set my defender up? Right? That is the key. Always read the help. Don't focus on the person who's just in front of you. And when you begin to read the help, you begin to even see how the person in front of you is guarding. Because if I'm looking this way, I could still see my camera. Notice my eyes aren't on my camera, but I can still see my camera. It's called peripheral vision. That is why you read the help and you don't read the person in front. You will see the person in front, but if you focus on the person in front, you won't see the other four. That is the gem of the video. You got to understand, you will always be able to see who's right here, but you will not always be able to see who's back there. So now in understanding that, you as a player, if you make that simple adjustment in your game, you begin to read back there, and that in your peripheral, you see what's right here. That is what's going to allow you to be able to understand what's happening in the whole floor, to where Jalen Brunson makes a move, right? He makes a move like this, and he's able to finish it off because he knows the side of the rim he should finish on. Because Siakam's stepping over from his left, so he goes with the right. That is the key. And now, what are other ways as to which you could be able to attack against the big? This is something we're going to talk about maybe in the future soon, right? And I just want to show y'all this play as well, because he has Siakam on him again in isolation, right? He has Siakam on him again. And what he ends up doing is not a push cross. He goes, attacks, behind the back, stop, boom, step through, step back, shot. Another way you could attack players who are slower than you is by utilizing your agility. Utilizing your agility. And so what Brunson does on this play is that something he doesn't do against guards, which is bump. He uses his agility, moving left to right, stopping and starting, not touching them because they're a bigger player. He can't engage that much and create separation because their size. So instead, he's going to use his shiftiness, where he's going to go right, boom, twitch, behind the back, stop, step through, go back, and he creates space by not even making contact. And that's another way you can score against players who are bigger than you. So on top of the move that you could use, like a push cross, lead him right, push left, or lead him left, push right, you could also utilize that. And I'm going to break that down more in detail with more clips in the near future. But for the time being, that's that for that video. Boom. Locked in. Ludor defense. I'll take note of it. Playing D1. Hey, praise God, man. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God, man. Playing D1. That's a blessing. That's a blessing right there. A lot of people take it for granted. Can you drop a video on Steph Curry's ball movement? Off ball, we can do breakdown off ball cuts and reading for cuts. There's going to be a whole phase, like a whole series of time as to which I'm focusing strictly on off ball stuff. It's going to be soon. But I got to break down some isolation stuff. I got to debunk a lot of myths that people have when it comes to scoring, right? When it comes to creating off the dribble. Because I know a lot of people struggle with that. I'm just going through struggles for players, right? And so we're starting with that. We're going to watch a second video. Fam. We got one more video. We're going to watch, all right? Let me see here. All right, let's watch this one right here. As a matter of fact, right? Let's watch this one. This is another concept. This is another concept right here. This is gonna be a really good breakdown. It's gonna be a really good breakdown right here. This is gonna go into the philosophy of isolation. Right? So boom. Hardy. I've done a little bit of it, but I'm gonna really dive in for real. At some point in time. This is why I say it's better just to have a float and go for a float. Have a really good float. Because what's the worst that can happen if you go for a float instead of going for a layup? But if you go for a layup, you may end up getting blocked. But if you go for a floater, you won't get blocked. Right? I break that down. I actually have some breakdowns on that, like specifically in my community. Times where SJ would drive and get a layup versus times he'll drive and go for a floater or whatever it might be. Right, I have like literally like I promise you the deep. Let's actually look at it right quick. I'm gonna show y'all. Let me see. Let me pull it up as a matter of fact, right quick before you get the second breakdown started. I'm gonna show you how these breakdowns look like. I'm gonna show you that. I think I have one on SGA when it comes to finishing. Let me see. It's the regular season isolation. Boom. Not that one. Finishing. This is what it is. This is the breakdown right here. This is the breakdown. This is the same. This is the question that you just asked when a rim protector is coming for your shot. How to know when to flow or go for a lay. This is right here. 20-minute breakdown. If you speed it up, 17 minutes. And I'm talking about different angles. I'm talking about how to look. You know what I'm saying? Patterns, right? And if like very common. Boom. Play the breakdown. And I'm going through probably like mad clips. This is just the same thing. This is me. This is me doing a breakdown. I don't watch my breakdowns back. But look, like it's literally the exact question that you have. It's right here. I also have another video. I have SGA going against Dyson Daniels. So like, all right, I could score. What happens when I have a really good defender? All right, boom. How do I attack Dyson Daniels? You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be an entire library. And mind you, this is 27 breakdowns over here-ish. Attacking cutters, finding your best matchup, distracted defenders. I'm in the midst right now of dropping about 25 breakdowns on Kyrie Irving from 2017 regular season. I'm gonna be going through his yearly stuff, and yeah, I'm gonna be going through stuff like year to year. So yeah, that's what I got there. But long story short, if you just want a gem on that, I'll drop a gem. Is the help set? You have to be able to see it, but one key to understand whether or not you should get a lay or should get a float is whether or not the help is set. Right? Is the help set? Is the help there? And you got to be able to like just catch it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Andrew Nemhard breakdown. I may watch his defense from I really want to watch his defense from the finals. But I could take note of that. I'm gonna study Darius Garland. Could be made about his game for sure. Darius Garland got a lot of gems. Andrew Nemhart, and I think there's somebody else I wanted to watch. Another smaller guard. I forget. Defensive drills for lateral speed, yeah, but like it requires demonstration. Like I have to do it or record it to show you. You a teenager ain't making that type of moolah. Hey, it's worth, like you said, it's worth it. What you call it? It's an investment, one, and two. I promise you could strike a deal with your parents for them to be able to get it for you. I promise you. I don't even think y'all realize y'all have more money than you think. If you're like, dang, that's a lot. Like you see $49 a month, but think about it like this: it's food for thought. One, every week you probably go out somewhere and buy some food. That food accumulates to probably, like nowadays with inflation, with how much things cost, you're probably paying about, what is it? Maybe $10 to $15 for a meal. And now when it comes to a community that's $49 a month, that's about a meal a week. So instead of eating out, you could take that money, invest it to where you're going to be at a point in your future to where you have been able to actually get something that has been able to propel you forward, rather than just some food that you felt like eating because you're lusting over food or you're craving a certain food. I promise you, people have more money than you think, and you can make things happen a lot easier. Like if you could clean or whatever, doing something around the house where your parents may be paying for your training, they may be paying for this, whatever it might be. Like I promise you, it's easier to find than you think. I promise. People be going to camps every summer for like 3 bands, and then it'll be like, I'm like, yo, it's a $49 community, $49 a month community with 10 like. The amount more that you get from the community than you get from a camp is insurmountable. At least my community, at least, because it's still growing. One, and two, how much is even already in there? But yeah, this video here is going to be really good as well. We're gonna be talking about isolations, particularly with in the midst of a series and making in-game adjustments. Any tips? Don't worry about being perfect, just learn. I promise you, so many people get breakthrough when they catch that. But right, I want to break this down, right? Jalen Brunson against the Boston Celtics. This is gonna be a kind of a breeze, but it's really gonna be philosophical, right? So I need y'all to hang with me. I need you to catch what we're doing, because it's not so much about what's happening in the clips. It's about all the clips coming together, and it's gonna have an overall meaning, right? So understand. I'm going to show the first 5 clips I'm going to show you are from game 1 of the semifinals where the Knicks face the Celtics. And notice what Jalen Brunson is doing, right? In these clips. He's got an isolation against Al Horford over here, right? Clears out this corner. He attacks. Notice the results of the shot. Contested shot by Horford. Misses that. Now he has Jrue Holiday on him. Goes to the side. Gets Horford on him again, right? And notice how all these plays are happening. He gets Horford on the switch. He has to get a spacing. One person goes to that side. Bad spacing, right? They have to boom. He attacks. Goes. Gets stuck. Boom. Throws it away. Turns it over. He's 0 for 2 on possessions, right? In isolation against the Celtics right now in game 1, right? 0 for 2. Now he comes off the screen. He gets Al Horford, right, on a switch. And so now he brings it back out. Waits. Reads the floor. Hangs. Is able to get into this pull-up step back. He hits his first shot right there. So he's 1 for 3, scored 3 points out of 3 possessions. Now he comes off the screen to his left side. He gets Horford. Now he attacks, splits to his middle. Even here, float, nonetheless, misses it. 1 for 4 on possessions in isolation, right? In game 1, another possession, right? Here, this is the third quarter now. You got Brunson at the top, goes into his attack. He's able to get here, float, bucket. Jalen Brunson, 5 possessions in isolation in game 1. How many points did he score per possession, right? This is average. 5 points, 5 possessions, 1.0. His average on the season is closer to 1.1, right? And that is where it gets excellent. But at 1.0, that is around average. And so that all happened in the midst of game 1. And now let's watch the next clips, right? His points per possession through those 5 plays was 1.0. But if we're going to look at these rest of the clips throughout the rest of the series, pay attention to this. 5 ISOs in game 1. Now we're moving down to these next other games, right? This is game 3. Post against Payton Pritchard. Bumps, fouled. He goes to the line. He hit 2 free throws. You can check it if you want. Check the game logs, right? 2 points right there against Payton Pritchard. He has Jrue Holiday on him, right? Fakes this handoff. He attacks hard. Boom, bump, lay right there. 4 points, 2 possessions, right? Third possession right here, another isolation. Boom, push cross, he attacks, goes, lays, bucket, right? That's 6 points right there. Through 3 possessions in isolation in the last 4 or 5 games of the series. This went 5 games, so the last 4 games, right? And so, boom, he's against Peyton Pritchard. He goes, boom, patient, here, gets stuck, ends up doing this, throws it out, right? Gets it right back. Quite a bit of a long possession, right? Wasn't able to get much, and this is why it's going to end up kind of in the way it does. Jab, shot there, late clock, he misses. That's his first miss in isolation through the last 4 games of the series, right? Boom, here. Now the last possession right here. Last possession. Jalen Brunson coming down, Jaylen Brown in front of him. He gets to his right side, gets Derek White, patience, attacks hard, he goes. Now he gets that float, bucket. 8 points through 5 possessions. That makes his points per possession 1.6. And on average, if you accumulate possessions, 10 possessions, right? 10 possessions, 1.6, that's 16 points. But if it's 10 possessions, he's at 1.0, that's 10 points. 6-point difference. You see how it adds up, right? Get it. Catch my drift. Catch what I'm about to say. It's important that through the course of a series, through the course of games, in the midst of a singular game, that you understand how to adjust in isolation, because it's not always better to continue to do it. You got to adjust when you do it, how you do it, and who you do it against, and the times that you also do it in. And so what I'm now going to break down through these plays is how Jalen Brunson attacked in game 1, opposed to attacking in the last 4 games of the series. So let's go back, right? First play against Al Horford. He gets the switch onto Horford. And now notice how slowed down, how methodical these plays are, how much time it gives Boston, who has a great team defense and also at times has great defenders on the floor, right? So boom, of course, you got JT over here on this weak side. You got Horford, who's good guarding on the ball for years of his career, right? So boom, he's at the top. It allows him to be able to see what he's doing. Loads up, he gets the big. Horford's still able to stay in front. He misses that. Understand, he's trying to get Horford on the switch. It's not working. He gets Horford again on the switch, right? He ends up getting the spacing. This allows, guess who? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Al Horford. All great defenders that he's doing these slow, methodical isolations against, right? So he ends up getting the spacing, but nonetheless, regardless of the spacing, he ends up doing this, turning it over, right? So boom. That's the second possession. He was 0 for 2, like I said. He gets his next one against Al Horford. Let's speed it up, right? He ends up getting another switch on the big. Boom. Brings it out. Allows the defense to load up. And mind you, like I said, they have great defenders on the floor most of the time. Holiday, White, Tatum, Brown. And then you even got Horford on the ball. There's great defenders on the floor, right? Not just on the ball, but off the ball. They know how to play defense. So now here, he ends up taking quite a few moves. It's tough step back, knocks it down nonetheless. Right? So boom, he hits that one. Next possession right here, he goes against Horford again. He's doing the same thing. He's trying to pick on Horford, be methodical, and get to his spots. But in this scheme, right, of this tactic of attacking Horford in isolation, understand what's gonna happen as a result. It's not gonna lead him to being as efficient as he can. Because like I said, he's at 1.0. Over 10 possessions, that's 10 points opposed to where he was in those other games, which was 1.6. And now notice how he's changing the way he attacks in isolations in the rest of these games. This is what allowed the Knicks to actually win and close out the series. This adjustment. And this is how you got to approach the game, right? Understand, we're really going to break these plays down, right? He comes over here this time, game 3. He's got Peyton Pritchard on him, right? Peyton Pritchard. And now what I want you to watch is McBride and Jaylen Brown, right? McBride and Jaylen Brown. So he ends up posting up. He waits for McBride, right? Waits for McBride to clear out the way. Jaylen Brown gets out the way. He breaks into that middle. The second that the middle opens up, right? He's reading the help and not just trying to get one thing and allow the defense to load up. The defense is still moving, right? Jaylen Brown's still worried about where McBride's going. Kristaps Porzingis, right? Both of them, right? Notice what happens, right? McBride's going to end up getting spaced. Brown's going to go out. And then Mitchell Robinson's going to move down. Kristaps is going to move down, which is going to open up this middle for Jalen Brunson to attack. Right? It doesn't allow him to sit there and load up. And so now he breaks into that middle, bump, he fouls, he gets fouled, he goes to the line, right? Notice how it's not that same pulled back, methodical, slow isolation approach, right? This next possession, pay attention. This counts as an isolation, right? He fakes his handoff and now understand the spacing of the floor and what Drew Holiday thought, right? Seeing him turn his back, you should know on the scouting report he's not going to do that, right? But early on in the game, you get a few possessions in, you may just get caught lacking, especially with this empty corner. Even if you knew what he was about to do, it's going to be tough to stop because he has all the room to turn this corner, right? And so even now, you're going to notice that Drew Holiday is able to even stay in front of this, right? But that bump right there to his hip while moving back, he's able to go right there and get a layup at the rim. Notice how he's blending these plays in with the movement of his teammates. That is the key. He's blending these ISOs in with the movement of his teammates. Now what I want you to pay attention to is Jaylen Brown, right? You see Jaylen Brown right in front of him? Notice this. Jaylen Brown's here, and also pay attention to Jalen Brunson's head. Watch these two things on this play, right? Look, Jaylen Brown right there. His head, you just seen him move over, right? You see his head move over, look to the side, because Jaylen Brunson's eyes are looking at this, what's going on over here, right? And Josh Hart coming over to set this screen, right? Boom, for Anunoby could come over the top. But in doing that, and Jaylen Brown looking to where Jalen Brunson is looking, it opens up something else. Because if you look at this other side of the floor, you have this going on here, and even from Drew Holiday, right? He's not ready to help. So what's going to end up happening on this possession? He's looking right, leading, watching the play, right? Deceiving. Jaylen Brown turns his head. Boom. He gets caught lacking. Push cross to that baseline. Drew Holiday comes and steps over. Boom. Euro step to that other side. Lay at the rim. Deception with his eyes allowed him to open that up. Like I said, notice how he's blending these isolations in the midst of plays. Right? He's blending and camouflaging them in so that the defense cannot catch on. Right? So boom. That's the third play. Now let's go to this next one. Right here with Peyton Pritchard. Remember that first play that we watched, right, from game 3? This is now game 5, right? This is now game 5. And so what ends up now happening, game 5. What ends up happening now, boom, he gets Peyton Pritchard, comes to that right side, he gets the switch. And now, boom, notice, this is going to be slightly different. You got Jaylen Brown, same thing on McBride, but now you have Al Horford guarding Josh Hart. And Horford makes a great play on this. And then, of course, you got the help side over here, right? But pay attention to Horford, right? Pay attention. I want you to really pay attention to Horford, right? Catch my drift. So he's in this post up from the wing. Horford turning to the right side, knowing he's guarding Josh Hart, who's moving down. Notice how he's not just going to follow Josh Hart over to this side, how he's going to remain in the paint, right? This is going to blow up the entire play because he goes and Horford is still here. Right? And he's not going to kick this to Josh Hart because this is who they want them to pass the ball to. And you have Drew Holiday ready to go. And you also have Jaylen Brown down here ready to go. So they're not playing dummy like they did on that first possession. Remember? Right? And so, boom. He breaks that middle. He plugs it all up. And that's basically the end of this play. Because now the lanes that he has, Josh Hart tries to cut through, brings another defender. And now, boom, he gets to this corner. And now by the time he's in this corner, guess how much time is on the clock? 7. Right? And guess what he ends up seeing? Right? He has the bomb now. Double team. Shoots it over the top. Settles. Only miss right there. Now another possession right here. He comes down against Jaylen Brown. Notice his pace on this one. Like I said, he's camouflaging and disguising the isolations in. So he gets to his right side. Boom, he gets Derek White. He has no spacing at this point in time. McBride, again, is right next to him. You have Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps over here, right? But the key is Jaylen Brown. Notice how he's going to end up being a dummy defender in this situation, right? He turns his back. Jaylen Brown turns his back. And the second that Jaylen Brown turns his back and begins to look at this action where McBride is almost like setting a screen possibly for Cat, right? Really is just dummy action, just trying to get spaced. Jaylen Brunson does what? Right? Let's go back so you can see the timing of this, right? He turns his back. Jaylen Brown turns his back. And now he's able to do what? Attack this gap that, although it seems small, he actually has a lane straight down to the rim because there's no help, right? He's not paying attention. So he goes. Derek White's still in front. Drew Holiday doesn't help because, mind you, if Drew Holiday decides to help on this drive and is like, oh, dang, that means he's going to step up here and Mikal Bridges is going to have a wide open 3, or he could go do that baseline cut and get a 2, whatever he wants, right? And so Drew Holiday doesn't help, and now it's just a one-on-one in the middle of the floor. He bumps, boom, float, bucket. The way that Jalen Brunson was able to get efficient and allow him to win the series was by making this adjustment and not trying to methodically and slowly pick on defenders and attack the Boston Celtics. He caught it after game 1 and stopped doing it completely. That adjustment is what allows players to actually win playoff series. And that's what allowed them to win this. Because if he tried to do the same thing over and over and over again, it would have put him in a bad spot. He got more efficient by changing his strategy of attack. So when it comes to isolation, you got to really discern. Should I continue to ISO? Or should I switch it up? Is there a better way I could attack? Should I be doing more pick and roll? Should I be doing more playing off the ball? Or should I be doing less of ISOs? Or is this going to be a game where I could ISO, get a matchup, and be able to attack from there? You got to be wise when it comes down to that. And so that is the key when it comes to being efficient as a scorer and even in isolation. That is the key. Being able to see these things and recognize them and being able to make those adjustments. But it all requires film. It all requires studying the game. And a lot of y'all do not study the game, truly. And if you want to be able to actually be able to actually get better, you have to study the game. You have to watch film. And you must incorporate that into your game so you can train your mind and not have to go through so many things. And while you get caught in the midst of the game going so fast, you end up not actually being able to score, right? You end up not actually being able to get to your spots. And so if you actually want to be able to study the game and learn how to make adjustments like this, like that, I'll coach you how to do it. I'll show you through the film. I'll bring you detailed film breakdowns and also coach you one-on-one so you can learn how to do the same exact thing for your game and your mind and for your future, for the goals that you set for yourself as a basketball player. Before these next 2, 3, 4 years are up, or these next 5 to 6 if you're young, do you actually want to invest into time? Because time goes away, but your money doesn't go away. You got to make an investment so you could actually plant a seed so you could grow and not lose time. Take advantage of the time that you have by investing into your mind. And I'm then going to invest right back into you. I'm trying to coach you. I'm trying to help y'all accomplish your goals, help you become the player that you want to be. But it's a matter of choosing discipline and making your future more important than your now and understanding that you may run out of time. You may actually run out of time. It's true. It's a fact. So are you going to make that commitment and actually get better? Are you going to begin to make those investments? Discipline or regret, you choose. And that's the end of today's breakdown, man. That's the end of today's breakdown. We had 2 quick little breakdowns. And yeah, man, I'm really trying to help y'all get better, fam. Also, do the reads that he makes and spot up in transition. Yeah, I'm about to slide out of here, though. I got to get going. I got somewhere I need to be. I actually told someone to be there at 4 o'clock. I may be a little late, but yeah, man, it was a great breakdown. Man, I look, you want to stream more. I want to stream longer, but dang. Yeah, man. Hopefully y'all caught that. Hey, put a 3 in the chat if y'all learned something today. If you learned something today, put a 3 in the chat. Put a 3 in the chat if you learned something. I'm trying to see who's actually peeping game. Because we about to get down to the nitty gritty details. Lazar Ace was good. What up? What up? 3 in the chat. Another 3 in the chat. Learn something today. Hey, if you living each day and you're not learning something, man, you got to really reassess your habits and your behaviors, all the things that you're doing, man. You got to really reassess. Phantom, what's good? What's good? I need y'all. We about to really start getting active. Next week, I think we might be on Kyrie next week. We might be watching Kyrie or SGA. I think I got some SGA stuff I may get back to. Bro, there's so many gems on SGA. There's so many gems on SGA, man. We may get back to SGA next week. SGA, I got some SGA stuff and some Kyrie stuff to watch over the next couple of weeks. We may do a hybrid stream. Maybe watch a little bit of SGA, a little bit of Kyrie. Kyrie from 2016 in the playoffs. Oh, yes, that's a good one. Man, I got some gems in that. And if y'all want coaching, y'all want one-on-one coaching, make sure you, like I said, hit the link in the description. Join up. If you don't have a way right now, find a way, and a way will be made. I guarantee you. And I'll be waiting on the other side for y'all to be able to coach y'all, help y'all get better. So I'll catch y'all next week, next Saturday. 3:30. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting my stories every now and then and whatnot. So I'll be keeping y'all updated on everything. But like I said, man, discipline or regret, you choose.